My name's Danny Callaghan, 39-year-old from South Shields. I'm an account manager in the commercial building trade, and I'm also a qualified personal trainer, level 2 diploma in fitness and personal training. Around 16 years ago, it'll be 17 years ago now, sorry, I just became ill, and it came on all of a sudden. Weight just dropped. I don't think Crohn's, colitis or anything like that was as sort of publicly known as it is now. So it took a lot long term to be diagnosed. There was a lot of trips to the hospital, a lot of stays in the hospital, a lot of tests, but it just went undiagnosed for about 2 or 3 months. Around the December time, I always remember, it got very, very cold and we had real bad snow here, and I think that caught me and got my immune system low. So in January I was taken to the hospital, diagnosed immediately, kept in, and they had no choice but to perform the surgery. I think at the time I was probably about 7 stone, so my weight had just plummeted through the roof, and there was no signs of it being improved with medication. We tried a lot of medication, it just didn't work. So the next thing I know, I'm on a lot of medication, and then I wake up in intensive care and the surgery's being done. I think at the time the option to make it permanent was taken out of my hands due to the condition I was in. So I think at the time a family member made that decision to leave the 5% in so they could potentially reverse it later on. When I came round and started to get better, it was quite a daunting time because I never heard of ulcerative colitis. I didn't know what it was. I actually didn't even know what a stoma bag was, what a colostomy bag was. I was only a youngish lad. I never knew any of this stuff, so it was quite difficult, and there wasn't the level of support you see now. You know, there wasn't so much social media back then. There certainly wasn't any groups or any help or anything like that. So for the first probably year or so, it was very, very difficult. You know, I tended to walk around with my hand planted to my stomach non-stop. I wouldn't take it away just in case. I was scared of leaks. I was scared of anything like that. And it took a long time to almost accept what it was, really. So the 2 years later, as it happens, being in a much better mindset and a much healthier place, I actually elected to have it made permanent. Still having problems with the bowel that was left inside. So it just seemed the only way to get rid of those problems permanently was to make it permanent. And because my life had actually improved so much over the last year or so, it was quite an easy decision to make. And the second surgery went fine, came out of it in a much better state than I did the first one, and since then it's been fine. I've not had a problem with it, and it's only been sort of the last 5 or 6 years, I would say, that all the awareness stuff that you see now has kind of come about. Hobbies and interests are all kind of based around fitness, in truth. You know, when I'm not at work, I was coaching my son's football team, and it was more on the fitness side. So it wasn't about the training, the tactics. It was about getting the boys in the team under 16s fit and building some strength. Because, you know, as they step up from the children's league to the bigger leagues, some of these kids had grown, some hadn't. So I incorporated what I was doing in here, some of the stuff I would do at home, to that. Aside from that, you know, when I'm actually in here doing my training, you know, my son does come with me. So a lot of my time is genuinely spent with my children one way or another, but luckily for me that incorporates into what I do fitness-wise. I mean, mentally, physical training for me has been phenomenal. This is kind of the place I come that's always helped me out, regardless to what kind of training I was doing or the level of fitness. Just to put a set of headphones in and come here, and it's to feel the difference in your body when you walk out afterwards after such trauma. You know, you still go through a lot of pain on a daily basis. Sometimes you can get a respite for months and months. But when that pain comes and you have to rest and you can come back and make yourself feel better, it has an awesome impact on your mental health. Physically stronger, you know you're stronger, you feel stronger in yourself, which means you feel fitter, which means mentally you feel much better in yourself as well. So it really ticks every box for it. Always take advice first. Always seek advice from somebody, either a professional or somebody who's done it before. Look at some of the support groups online. There's a lot of guys, a lot of people on there who do a lot of fitness. So always reach out, because you tend to find people in these support groups are there and they want to help you. And it works. But at the same time, the one thing everybody needs to do is listen to the body. So to avoid injury, you need to build a good core strength. Don't just walk in the gym, see a bench, rattle down, start pushing things out. Make sure you warm up properly, make sure you get your breathing right, get your diet correct. And the one thing you always need to do, listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you if you're doing too much. And as soon as you do that, you stop what you're doing. Lower the weights, change your routine, Just make sure you get your stance correct, your posture's right, and from there you really should be able to build a good core strength and avoid any kind of injury. So I've created an exercise routine aimed at helping those with a stoma build some core strength. If you would like to view the video, click the link on the screen now or in the description. Originally, I was given one lot of bags to use, and being quite, I kind of want to say stubborn, but at the same time, if it almost isn't broke, don't fix it. I had a very different mentality back then, so I kind of stuck them out for 12 years, and I had leaks, a lot of leaks. The flanges wouldn't stick down. I almost had a routine where I would put a bag on and go and lie flat on the bed for 20 minutes to allow it to stick. Which was just, it was inconvenient, but I felt I had no choice, because if I'd have went out, chances are it wouldn't have sealed properly, and I would have had those kind of leaks. So a couple of years ago I was introduced to a different kind, and they were fine, they worked, they did a lot better than the original ones. I used to use some extenders around the outside of them which would hold it on, so when it came to fitness, obviously for me, if we're doing a run and we're doing a fitness class, as you imagine, you're sweating quite a lot, and it would get under it and loosen it up a little bit. So the first one, I really struggled to train with. I was constantly checking, constantly looking. The second one, not so much. It wasn't so bad, but it would still require complete removal when I got home after using it, With the extenders, it would burn at your skin, and it actually did cause a granulation, which I had to have surgery to have removed. So because it leaked so much, it actually burnt the skin, created the granulation, which is a big sort of fatty tissue lump, which ended up having surgery. So that was during the pandemic, so unfortunately I had to live for 6 months with this lump, and there was no way of avoiding it, because obviously I couldn't leave it open to the waist, so I had to put the bag over it, which meant every time I took it off I was literally opening the wound up. So again, they weren't ideal just because of what they did. So the extenders held them in place, but if you had a heavy training session, you would always have the risk of leaks and skin irritation. I came across it, we were looking at different options when it came to something with a different sort of style flange for when training. The reason that's always been so important to me is if it's a complete circle flange, I think it doesn't cater for different shapes and sizes. Once it's on and it's stuck on there, if you move and you've got a flat stomach, then that bag is going to move different to if you had a rounded stomach. So I was kind of looking for something different, and I had seen these out and about, and I'd seen feedback from them. And obviously with the Manuka honey that's in it, I had a lot of skin irritation, so this thing seemed to make sense to me. To first of all, if I'm training, it's giving me that freedom of movement without worry, but it's also giving me something in there that is going to almost help heal the skin at the same time. So the first time I used it, I just generally used it just in and around the house, and I can honestly say I actually didn't feel like it was on. It's the first time ever I've actually commented to somebody that doesn't actually feel like I'm wearing one. So what I did then was just to put it to the test the next day. I had quite a busy day, so I put it on in the morning to go to work. Went out, I drive about a lot. Sit in the office, and then from there I dash home. I had to go and coach a kids football team, which was for an hour or so. That incorporates me actually playing football with the guys, and then from there into a gym session myself for a couple of hours. So I really put that to the test. And it worked brilliantly. The plus shape held, there was no leak, there was no sort of tears in any of it whatsoever, and I really enjoyed wearing it, to be fair. Genuinely didn't feel like I was actually wearing anything for the whole thing. I wasn't checking it, I wasn't looking every 5 minutes like there was something wrong, and it held up through it, and I really put it to the test that day. And in general, thanks to everything that's in it, my skin genuinely felt better the next day after wearing it as well, so really couldn't fault it. I think it's very important to have the choice of colour. I think it can be quite a conscious thing for people if they have a bag that's black and you wanted to wear lighter clothing. I think people are already conscious enough about it being seen or noticed without it sort of standing out. So to have the colour options there is absolutely ideal. It makes a huge difference, not just in a training facility, but in everyday life, to know that you're not constantly having to check or you're constantly worried about feeling irritation. It just takes the weight off your mind knowing that it's secure, it's there, and you can just get on with your general everyday life, really. I would recommend everybody try it. I understand people are always skeptical about trying new things, but I would recommend everybody try it, particularly people with busy jobs, active jobs, who are up and down a lot, who have to twist and turn for work, but more in particular active people. People who are training, people who work out quite a lot. I think if they try this, they will see the difference between this and other products.